Hi there, YouTube. Welcome back to episode 3 of Posture Labs and Pose Workshops. Today we are going to cover everyone's favorite pose, Utkatasana. This is chair pose, or sometimes known as fierce pose, depending on what lineage you study and practice. It looks the same and it burns the same. So pretty much everyone's going to be familiar with chair pose. It is commonly joked that it's everyone's least favorite posture, and we all hate the teachers who make us hold it for 5 breaths. But it is really good for you. I mean, I don't love it either, but you can't love every pose the same. So it is what it is. In chair pose, we generally say have the feet together, big toes touch, a sliver between your heels. If you start to do it that way and it starts to hurt your knees, you can always take your feet out the width of your hips. You're going to get pretty much the same benefits. It's just a little bit different. There's not usually a super right and wrong way to do every single pose. There's always modifications you can take to make it more accessible in your body without compromising the posture itself. So I will demonstrate from the side and from the front. With the feet together, I generally say, they teach this way in Ashtanga yoga, to bend your knees and reach your fingertips towards the mat. That ideally is how low you want your seat back. It is quite low, and from there you keep your legs as they are and reach your arms up to Utkatasana chair pose. Now what I commonly see is, we kind of compromise. We bend a little bit, we sweep the arms up, and we stay right here. I'm definitely guilty of this. It is a challenging pose, and you don't always feel like doing it. But I really do think at least feeling the sensation of how low you can get with your fingers touching the mat can show you how strong that you are, and you can hold the pose like this. It is challenging, and you're not always going to feel like doing it, but it is possible at least. Relax your arms down by your side. You can do the same thing with your feet the width of your hips. Bend your knees, send your butt back, reach your fingertips towards the mat. We don't really want the knees going forward past the toes. That's not the pose. You want your seat going back. So you can always see your toes. Fingertips touch the mat and reach your arms up. There's going to be a natural curve in your back. That's okay. I do want you to be able to see your toes regardless. If your feet are together or separate, we don't really want the knees coming past the toes. It's not the pose. You want your knees back a bit. So if you were to look down, you could see your big toes at least. You might even try to float your toes up off the mat because you're so heavy in your heels. Most of the pressure is through the heels, and then the big toe mound and the pinky toe mound of your foot. But your toes are pretty free here. Just like in your Tadasana and your upward salute, your toes rest on the mat, but we're not gripping with them. We're not really putting too much weight into them. They're usually pretty free in the pose. Now, like I mentioned, you're probably going to have a natural curve in your lower back because we are sending the butt back instead of bringing the knees forward. So as you send your butt back, and reach your arms up, it's going to be natural to have a little curve in your lower back. That is okay, but we just don't want to exaggerate it. So I don't want you sticking your butt out, and especially sticking your chest out and chin forward and up. So this is a common misalignment, is like, yes, you feel probably a lot in your lower back. You might feel like you're doing a really, really good chair pose, but in reality, I want a little tuck of your pelvis. So you're not going to get your back completely flat. You're going to have a natural curve, but think about a little tuck of the pelvis. So you feel those lower abs engage. Relax your shoulders. Your chest is proud, but you're not arching through the upper back. Shoulders relax, so they're not hugging by the ears. Fingers active, and if you like, the Ashtanga way, you can press your palms together overhead. It's definitely more challenging, and you'll feel more strain through your shoulders. Just options with the arms. Now, what a lot of people who are new to yoga might feel is some strain through the shoulders as they start to do this. You could take a modification, bring your hands to your heart center, kind of get the lower body aspect of it down. Once you feel comfortable with that, then reach your arms up, relax your shoulders. I like gaze forward or a slight gaze up, maybe between your hands. You'll start to feel the tension build pretty quickly in your thighs. Keep squeezing the inner thighs towards each other, little tuck of the pelvis. And you are constantly engaged in this posture. You never really disengage the legs. You can kind of maintain the pose with a little bit of disengagement, but we want to try to keep the challenge in the pose. Feet together, feet separate, same idea. Little natural curve, try to minimize it. Light toes, look down, spot your toes, and breathe. If the ribs feel like they're flaring out quite a bit, try to tuck the ribs in just a little so you feel your entire abdominals engage. And come up to standing. That's pretty much it for Utkatasana chair pose. Not a lot going on for a pose that's so challenging. This is a great, great, great foundational pose for a lot of other poses in our practice. A lot of the warrior poses, balancing poses. This is going to build great strength in your thighs and those stabilizer muscles around your knees. So even as much as you might dislike it, I do encourage you to do it and to do it correctly, so that you can build the foundation for maybe some more exciting or different yoga poses in your practice. I hope you learned something about chair pose, Utkatasana. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up if you did, hit the subscribe button, and check out my video next week for our next posture lab. See you next time.